How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. Week 8 on the horizon. We have our Thursday night game tomorrow, and I must say this is very exciting. We have a lot of trades that have already occurred leading up to the deadline. Boys, we're almost halfway there, man. This season is flying. Is it just me, or is this season flying?
Season flying, dude.
No, dude, it flies every year.
But this year, more noticeable. Maybe it's because I'm starting to get used to the 17-game slate. I don't know, man, but it seems like it's flying. But we wanted to speak before we even get into our game predictions on some of the moves that have already happened and some of the moves that may happen. Zappy, you and I have talked numerous times leading up to this week about some of the happenings in the NFL. So I want you to hit on what you think is worth talking about right now as we approach the deadline.
Well, it's like we've talked about. It's what teams are going all in versus which teams are selling and readying themselves for the future. You look at the Panthers, they've moved their wide receiver, Robbie Anderson, as well as Christian McCaffrey.
Yes, indeed.
Moves that were expected, and now, it brings up the question, are they done? Are they going to wheel and deal some more? DJ Moore comes to mind. We now know Brian Burns is not going anywhere if that trade offer was in fact true. And then you can look at teams like the Saints. Are they willing to move on from a guy
like an Alvin Kamara,
or even their star defensive end, Cam Jordan? A team like the Bengals makes the sense because they need a pass rushing defensive end.
And the Saints need draft capital because it's not a lack of talent over there. It's a lack of health. They're so hurt.
And you say draft capital. The Saints don't have a first-round pick in next year's draft and a second because they did trade it off to the Eagles. So then, you look at the Broncos, another team that had higher expectations this year that are sitting at 2-5. Are they going to be sellers? We're talking about guys like Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, and more importantly, Bradley Chubb. Would they be willing to move away from someone like that? A star defensive end, outside linebacker type player that can come in and give a defense that's on the verge, that generation of a pass rush that they need. And then we look at the wide receiver market. Chase Claypool, Brandon Cooks, even DJ Moore, Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore, to name a few. Are they going to move somewhere else? So, there's a lot that still needs to be answered. The Giants obviously are in trade talks right now. Will they move on from Kadarius Toney or even I can't even think of his name right now, former Detroit Lion, your favorite Galladay.
Galladay.
So, and I know that
nobody wants to take that on. Giants just got to ride it out this year.
Yeah,
Jerry Jeudy is an intriguing.
Jerry Jeudy is an option.
Yeah,
and he has named the Giants as one of his landing destinations. We already know that the Chiefs, they need a wide receiver. They moved on from Tyreek Hill during the offseason, but they seem to be in the play for one. There's talks about Brandon Cooks. There's talks about Chase Claypool. There's talks about OBJ, and that's the other question. Where is OBJ going to sign? Will he sign with a team like Dallas, who is an OBJ away from having a damn good receiving core? Or will he go to Buffalo and complete that team since they missed out on a Christian McCaffrey? So there's a lot of questions to be answered. And, the trade deadline is only a few days away, being November 1st. But we've already seen 5 big deals happen so far, most of them the majority of this week. My Cowboys made a move for Jonathan Hankins, your former defensive tackle.
That's a solid move.
Yeah, it's a great move.
You got a really good player.
Yeah, and one of our biggest things has been the one gap, one technique, where we've needed a run-stuffing defensive tackle, and now they have it. Our pass rush hasn't been an easy. Oh, he's a very wide body. So, and that brings another question: is Neville Gallimore going to be moved from Dallas? And he's a guy I could see being moved. Where a trade that they can bring back a wide receiver. So. Stay tuned. That's all I have to say. The NFL has definitely turned more into the NBA style where we're seeing a lot more trades, whereas in the past we would say maybe 1 or 2.
That would shake it up. Now it's like 5 to 10 every year.
Exactly. And we're already at 5 and we still have 4 days to go. So who knows?
Most popular sport in this country. And the other part is, over the last few years, I think the panel will agree if you don't speak up on it. But I've noticed that even in the offseason, we've seen more blockbusters than in previous generations, previous decades, so to speak. I got to say, man, let's start with the most prolific name on the list and work our way back. Odell Beckham, in my opinion, is going to be a Chief.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think Chiefs and Chiefs, Buffalo, and then the Giants. I think in that order, that pecking order. Chiefs can use them. That'll open up Juju. That'll open up Kelsey. Oh man, it would be insane because you have to keep an eye, no matter what his injury history is. When he's on the field, he's like a Randy Moss. You have to you got to keep a man on him
always, and not to mention one of the most overlooked parts of his game. He is a great blocker downfield.
Exactly.
Enter Odell, and you already have the best tight end in football, Travis Kelsey. Not for nothing.
Kelsey, we eat.
He's gonna eat. He's
already eating. And
he's gonna.
And I look at OBJ, and you could talk about the Packers, but I think he needs to go to a team where he's not going to be the number one.
Right.
And the Packers, I think he would take more on that role. That's putting too much on a guy that's going through 2 ACL surgeries on the same knee.
Good point, Zappy.
Good
point, Zappy.
Exactly.
So, when you talk about a team like the Chiefs, I mean, if he goes to the Bills, I'm done. I stand by that.
I'm going to tell you why he's not going to Buffalo. They already have it figured out what works for them at slot. But to your point, you get a man like that. Like I thought they were going to get CMC. I was shocked that he went to the Niners.
Yeah.
I wasn't, because I think that's going to set up another big trade for the 49ers this upcoming offseason. Will it involve a Deebo Samuel? Maybe, maybe not.
Ooh.
But I think they have something up their sleeve. The Niners know what they're doing. John Lynch knows what he's doing with that franchise.
He's done a great job there.
He's done a great job, and that's considering that he gave up a lot of draft equity just to land a Trey Lance, who has barely played for this team in the few years he's already been in the league. So,
but still an intriguing player.
He is. And, that's why, OBJ, the ball's going to be in his court, especially after this trade deadline. You're going to look at the teams that have made moves for the wide receiver. And there are a lot of wide receivers out there that are available. Even look at the Packers if they're really all in on a guy like A.J. Green, which makes no sense for me when you're trying to win this year. But at the same time, it makes sense when you have a team full of youth, especially when you have your guys like Sammy Watkins and Randall Cobb that have been hurt. So when you can bring in a guy like that, maybe he can stay healthy. Probably not just going based off of recent history, but there's going to be some movement. There's going to be movement. I personally think the best player to go for the Chiefs would be Brandon Cooks, because he brings that Tyreek Hill style of mentality. He's a guy that can move with the ball and move without the ball. And I think he matches perfectly, and he can play now. Whereas OBJ, you still have to wait a few weeks.
Yes. I think that's a good point you made. I want to make it short and sweet. Him and Cobb have a history of all places in Houston with Deshaun Watson, which was the last season he actually played. And although the Texans were a terrible team that year, Watson had a legitimate chemistry, and those two had a legitimate chemistry. The Texans did Cobb a favor, let him go back to Green Bay. Brett's itching down there. Go ahead, buddy.
I am. I'm man. I've been itching for like 8 minutes. Both of you guys have said that the Chiefs and the Bills need a wide receiver. They do not. They do not. They need a every down running back. They do not have a first, second, third down running back that can pound the ball. Okay. The guy that the Jets just got was that guy.
But you got to keep in mind, Kansas City.
He was that guy.
Kansas City's not built that way. They're not built to have that type of. That's not the way the offense runs.
Yeah, but come down to the nitty gritty.
He's talking about the tough yards, and I do tend to agree with Brett on the level.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have
because of the fact that Kansas City, where do they struggle in the postseason? Most recently, last year, putting the game away. Putting the game away. And the playoff time, boys, we know this happens every year. Indeed. But to Idris's point, he makes a solid one too. They're not built that way, but you still want to know that you have it when you need it.
But you can still get it. You can even put Kelsey as a fullback and block.
That's not a terrible idea.
You know what I mean?
On those goal line scenarios.
Yeah, dude. Like these two teams between Buffalo and KC, they rely heavily on the passing game.
But they both. What's the biggest weakness? Both of them, quick. Biggest weakness is short yardage situations. In both the cases, it's 100%. Always on the quarterback, and that's 100%. And that's top heavy in the wrong direction.
100%.
Yeah, but between the Chiefs and Bills, the Bills are in better shape running wise. When you look at Devin Singletary, is actually not a bad running back, and he can get you those dirty yards if you really need him to.
That's a solid point.
James Cook is a nice change of pace back. He's the future back. Mm-hmm. But you look at the trade market. Who's out there? Cam Akers. Is he the running back that's really going to go into Kansas City and change their? No, you don't know. I mean, this guy still only came off a torn.
He has to get 2 yards a carry.
But he's still coming off a ruptured Achilles.
He's lost a lot of confidence. That's not the guy I'd bank on.
No, it's not. And that's the thing about this market is the trade market this year is not a running back market.
Right. I'm kind of surprised, Rob.
But it's going to be.
I have too. The Jets acted quick. The Jets acted quick.
Yeah.
The Jets acted really quick because it's a message to their fans that they're serious about winning now.
Mm-hmm.
Now.
Yeah.
And since we got them on the mind, let's talk about them first. We got the Patriots going to East Rutherford, New Jersey to play the Tenants, the Jets. You know, that's our stadium. It's still Giant Stadium when Blue is in the end zone.
Giants,
but, you know, I got to give them a short salute. You know, the Jets are doing a great job. Zappy and I, AFC East predictions, said that these dudes are going to win 7 games. I think they're going to do better than that, given their 5-2.
We said they were going to surprise a lot of people.
Indeed,
and they've surprised us even today.
Yeah,
indeed.
I think in the past I'd have went Patriots. They got to get their quarterback situation solved.
Yeah,
I think Zappy is the man to go with. He seems just so confident in the system. I know this is only Mac Jones' second year, but he just looks like every other Alabama quarterback. Just can't figure it out. To where Zappy, he gets in there, he looks confident. I mean, he had his time Monday night where he made some mistakes.
Dude, his first drive was like 4 for 4, 97 yards on a touchdown. His first drive.
Right,
Bill, I don't like what Bill did. I almost think that Bill wanted to prove, maybe because Bill's always thinking about 4 steps ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it gives him 4 steps behind for 1 week, Bill will take a loss for a bigger game.
Yeah.
And Zappy made a good point off air.
Mm-hmm.
The George Halas record, oddly enough, playing the Chicago Bears. The Bears played inspired football for at least 1 more week to keep their great head coach, the greatest head coach in Bears history, one of the greatest in NFL history.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping him in that spot ahead of Bill Belichick for second most wins all time. After that, obviously, he's going to be gunning for Don Shula. But yeah, when Brett said this too off air, you stick with the hot hand. History is very cyclical, and we've seen this shit happen where you have the Brady Bledsoe situation. You had the Eli Warner situation. You had the Warner Leinart situation.
Wrong one, Drew Henson.
Another good one. Good one. Drew Henson was a guy at Michigan that everybody thought somewhere he was going to catch on as a blow.
Bob Greasy. I'm not Greasy. Dan Marino, David Woodley. You can go down the line.
Yeah, you can really pitch it back quite a ways. Ken Anderson, Boomer Esiason.
Mm-hmm.
The point to be made here is that you don't take the ball out of the hot hand.
Right.
Even most recently with Zappy's Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I said this to Zappy, and I think Zappy agrees. He'll say if he doesn't. Cooper Rush needed to lose a game before Dak Prescott took the job back. Mm-hmm. Because if you lose a game with Cooper Rush like they did, but you kept it close because your defense is that damn good, it's actually a moral victory for the Dallas Cowboys. More so than a moral victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. Because we see
that's why the Eagles made a move today because of that.
Indeed.
Because Dallas beat them.
Who'd they get, Zappy? This is the best time to drop it.
Robert Quinn, which
Robert
was,
Quinn.
I mean, I'm sorry, the Bears, they got robbed.
Beals.
The Bears got
Beals.
robbed.
They got a host. Yeah.
They got a 4th round pick, and they're taking on the majority of Robert Quinn's salary. That trade made no sense. It was almost like a trade like, hey, Philly, we're here to help you out this year.
Exactly.
You know, because Philly, as we've seen the last few years, the Rams last year, the Buccaneers the year before that, teams that go all in tend to be the teams that are going to win the big one. And now Philly is that team this year. They went all in the offseason, trading for the likes of getting a James Bradbury, going and trading for A.J. Brown, you know, which has helped them. And then they go get a Robert Quinn.
The Giants sent them Bradbury. Literally. They just put him out there. But you know what?
Here you go.
Thus far, the Giants are not missing a beat on that side of the football.
They're not. But the Eagles, their defense is not missing a beat. And the fact is, the Eagles' pass rush has been one of the best in the league. They only have 17 sacks, but their win rate percentage is one of the best in the league.
They're getting a lot of those coverage sacks.
A lot of coverage sacks.
A lot.
Nevertheless, you bring in a Robert Quinn into that defense, which already has one of the best front fours in the NFL, whether it's the starting group or the backup group, and you put him in there. That's a lot to ask for. That's a lot to ask for from a lot of offensive lines to stop that defense.
The Bears may as well traded Robert Quinn for just a cheesesteak. That's basically what they traded it for. Give us a couple of cheesesteaks.
I got no other choice but to agree with Idris there. When I saw that come over today, I was
that
like,
was crazy.
They got him for free.
See Roquan Smith's reaction.
Right.
I mean, the dude was during a press conference when the trade happens.
Hold on. Can we back it up?
Go ahead.
We're not talking about the Patriots just anymore.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. Yeah, you're right. Let's get back to that. Yeah,
let's get back to that.
All right, Patriots Jets. I mean, Idris, you were talking. You didn't finish your prediction.
Go ahead, Zappy.
I think with that, I think you stick with the hot hand. I'm gonna go Jets 28, Patriots 24. I want to go with the Patriots, but I don't know if they're gonna start Zappy or not.
I think they're
starting Mac Jones. Mac Jones took 90% of the snaps
Zappy,
today.
I would go the other way. But I'm going Jets 28-24.
Brett, your prediction?
It depends on who starts. I don't know if Belichick gets lined up. I don't know if Zappy is starting. I don't know if
it's gonna be Mac Jones.
Mac Jones is starting.
It's gonna be Mac Jones.
I hope it's not.
It is.
If it is, then we might lose. But without Breece Hall, the season-ending torn ACL. The running game might be not where they want it to be. I think the Jets are going to have to rely on their passing game, and I think that's where we're going to take advantage of it. I think Stevenson is going to have a big role in this week's game. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be one of those, 24-21 games. I think it's going to come down to the last 2 minutes. But I think on the road, the way the Jets are set up, they don't know. They just brought over the Jags running back. He maybe get 20% of snaps.
James Robinson.
Yeah. Their running game is kind of in shambles right now. I don't think they really know where to go.
I wouldn't call it shambles.
I wouldn't call it in shambles either.
Well, they have to rely heavily on the running game.
Michael Carter, who you haven't mentioned, is going to be just fine.
Yeah, Michael Carter did a great job filling in last week.
We'll see. Yeah, go ahead. Keep defending the Jets. Go ahead.
No, it's not about defending the Jets.
No. Just keep defending the Jets. It's fine.
Your team just got their doors blown off by the Chicago Bears at home.
Both you guys have been on the fucking Jets bandwagon since the fucking AFC East preview. I don't give a shit. Yeah, we're winning this week. We're winning this week. 24-20. Calling it now. at Giant Stadium, suck a dick.
All right.
Well, all right.
There was some passion there.
A few weeks ago, I went on record and I said I'm buying stock on this New York Jets team. A lot of it because of Robert Saleh. And I was the only one that took the Jets to beat the Packers, and they beat them. I've been on the Jets, and I continue to love them. And I love that Robert Saleh is calling out every NFL team to throw towards Sauce Gardner's way.
He's taking receipts. Ever since his receipts comment, things have been going pretty good over there.
Good for you.
Not as good as it's going for the real team in that stadium, but the point to be made is they're playing at a high level. Sauce Gardner
is shutting down.
The Patriots offer nothing to Sauce Gardner.
It's not that hard to bet against the Green Bay Packers.
Hey, but check it out.
Anybody in the NFC or AFC can beat them.
Brett.
Buddy, you just got your doors blown off by the Bears.
I don't think
in New England. I thought it was a rematch.
You asshole!
I thought it was a rematch of Super Bowl 20 when I was watching that thing. I was like,
man.
And that was
replay of Super Bowl 20.
And that's another reason why, because it seems almost like Belichick has outcoached himself, and just maybe, he is past his time.
They call it dementia.
We've seen a lot of we have seen a lot of great coaches that retire.
I love Bill.
We've seen a lot of great coaches that retire when they need to. They walk away at the right point. The same could be said about Tom Brady and other quarterbacks that walked away when they should have.
The same can be said about Jerry Jones too. Why does he walk away?
Well, I mean, last time I checked.
Go ahead. Yeah, hey, thank you, Idris.
He's stunned. He stunned Bobby Kraft recently.
Yeah, he did.
Shout out Jerry Jones. I don't even like the Cowboys.
I don't give a shit about Jerry.
But
Jones.
if they're going Duke for Dukes, I think I'm going to put my money on. I'm taking Jerry.
I'm taking the guy that's worth almost $17 billion versus the guy that's worth a couple billion.
I'm taking Jerry.
Of the week.
That's a baby Billy right there. That's a baby Billy.
I really don't care.
I'm taking Jerry.
But anyways, going back to
Jerry,
the Patriots, you
piece of shit.
Look, the Patriots. Belichick needs to figure out what he wants to do in the quarterback room. He should have never gone Mac Jones and then put Zappy in there. That was where he messed up to begin with. Zappy comes in, leads them, and they take a 14-10 lead. But Belichick outcoached himself that game. He did. It was not Matt Eberflus. It was Belichick. You know,
Belichick lost that game for them. He lost that game before that game started. Yeah. Having said all that, I'm going to interject quickly. Patriots are going to win this game, and I'm going to tell you why.
Uh-oh.
Well, Brett made one good point, and usually it's only one good point, but he made the point that mattered. He made the point that mattered.
What's that?
That Wilson might have to throw the ball more than he needs to, because the Patriots, even though they are going through their things right now, they still have a stout run defense. And I have a feeling that Wilson is going to turn the ball over, because it's been a long time since people have been stroking the Jets' ego, telling them how good they are. And I think they're going to get a little bit of a reality check. It's going to be a close ball game. I'm calling for the game-changing play. Interception. Jabril Peppers out of force.
Yeah, of course you would.
I'm taking the Jets, and the reason why is I don't trust Mac Jones.
Me neither.
He looked lost in that game, and now he's got to go into hostile territory. This is what the Jets fans have been waiting for.
Yes.
This exact moment.
And this is why they are the tenants, and why they will never even have their – we had to call it MetLife to appease them.
Yeah.
To appease them.
Just
because, they got in their feelings Christmas Eve. They want to cover up our Lombardis. And, yes, I love busting Brett's chops. And, yes, I love that you and I look like geniuses talking about how great these Jets are. But at the end of the day, this is my former defensive coordinator who helped my organization win 2 Super Bowls versus the tenants. It's not about rooting for anybody, because whenever Brett has that little bit of a smirky frown, oh, don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it for you. On that group text, I'm like, bro, I hate the fact that you wake up, that you're going to stay awake for this. But I almost felt like telling him what was happening because he was working, really late. Mm-hmm. Like, bro, they don't deserve for you to watch this tonight. Belichick screwed you. But one thing I must say, usually when Belichick makes those kind of mistakes and just doesn't look like the guy that he is, similar to his former quarterback, Tom Brady, things change the very next week, even if it's just for 1 week.
But he has never really been in that situation.
He's had moments. I think that
moments is a different thing.
I think the human side of the Belichick genius has been on full display pretty much since Tom Brady left. And they lost other players too. J.C. Jackson, obviously, he's going through. He might be done now.
He is.
I'm
done.
Changing my prediction. Instead of 28-24, 28-21.
We've been on this game for a long time.
That's all right. That's what other videos are for. These are our best games, and then we're gonna hit you with the other stuff.
Hit me.
27-17 Jets.
And I don't want to hear you complaining about the time. That's for me to worry about. Since we did talk about the Belichick Brady thing, we might as well flip it into Tampa. This is going to be the first game of the week. Baltimore Ravens, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Something's got to give here. The Ravens are struggling against the run. Leonard Fournette is struggling in general. I almost called them Patriots. The Buccaneer offense is struggling. Tom Brady looking super pedestrian, the most pedestrian he's looked probably since 2019, his final year in New England. Something's got to give. Julio Jones likely not suiting up. You got Godwin active. You've got Mike Evans active. But I must say that this is, in any other division, this is a make or break for Tampa. This is just the midway point of the season.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens are going to walk out of here with a win. It's going to be close. Tampa would fall to 3-5, but I smell 4 or 5 after this loss.
I agree.
I got Justin Tucker ending it on a late field goal, whether it puts them up for good or whether and they get a 2-minute stop, or if it's just the fact that they just put them away with this. The thing is, in order to beat the Baltimore Ravens, Zappy made this point on our last show. Lamar needs to throw the ball and just do things against the grain from what prevents teams from winning football games, which is why I give Tampa a puncher's chance. Because this is the one game that's not in my football pool and I'm okay with being wrong about, I'm going to go Baltimore Ravens 26, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20. Justin Tucker 23. Give him 26-23. Justin Tucker is going to be the difference in this game at the end. But I do believe that once this is done, Brady's going to come back. I wouldn't call it with a vengeance, but just a little better. Thing is, this Buccaneer team is still trying to figure out their identity. They were a couple of years removed from winning a Super Bowl. And they lost some key components to what they do. Rob Gronkowski, gone. Antonio Brown, gone. JPP is a Raven. He's played against his former teammates. And Ndamukong Suh's sitting on his couch eating Cheetos. The point is that this Buccaneer team doesn't look like the same team. They don't have the same head coach. Mm-hmm. Todd Bowles is still a mystery if he's the right man for the job. Brady gets what Brady wants. He was not a big Arians fan. Arians ends up upstairs. But I feel that at least for this week, Mark Andrews. Who's stopping Mark Andrews this week? Does anybody have an answer for me?
Well, he was stopped last week.
Yeah, but that's about this week.
But
I mean, Antoine Winfield lines up pretty well against tight ends. So
here's my thing with this game. I mean, it could go either way. The Buccaneers have to win this game.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
They have to win this game.
Not in that division. Not in that division.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Idris. This is a division that 7 or 8 wins to win it.
I'm not saying it because based on wins. I'm saying it based
for the morale,
on confidence and morale.
No, none of that's happening in that division.
They have to win this game if they want to have momentum going in the second half of the season. They have to win this game. This is a home game, primetime game. against a team that could possibly be 6-7-0.
Yeah, good point.
Just because of their fourth quarter blunders, giving up all those fourth quarter leads.
Good point, Brett. Good point. Good point.
Anything can happen in this game, but Buccaneers absolutely have to win this game,
and they won't.
And in a short week,
27-24.
It's hard to say that they can win it in a short week.
They're not winning this game.
27-24 Ravens.
Just because of the performance they put up this past Sunday.
So what's your prediction, Brett?
Putting a lot of thought into that one.
20, yeah, I am. I have to. 27-26 Ravens.
Ooh. So you got, after all what you said, you still got the Ravens winning.
I do.
Okay. I like it.
It's kind of hard to say that the Bucs can win it on a short week after losing to the Panthers like that.
It's also kind of hard for me to continue to talk about the Bucs. Is there anything else we got to say about this game?
Jesus Christ.
I agree with Brett. I think the Buccaneers need this game a lot more than the Ravens do. I think they need it after not only getting embarrassed by the Carolina Panthers and
the
really
worst team in the NFL, in my opinion.
What changed the whole complexion of that game was Mike Evans dropping that deep ball.
Oh my God, that was bad, bro!
65-yard pass.
That was in his hand.
That was in his hand.
On my fantasy team.
But
yeah.
And then the week before, I don't want to say embarrassed because at least that one was Pittsburgh and they have a better defense than Carolina and somewhat better But I just can't see them losing 3 games in a row. They've already lost 2 games in a row twice this year. And then they are 1-2 at home. They're playing at home. I can't see this team going 1-3. I can't see the story, the legacy behind Tom Brady allowing this team to lose at home to a Baltimore Ravens team. And the sad part is the Buccaneers are favored to win by 1 point, meaning the only reason why they're favored to win is because it's at home.
Yeah, which means that Vegas thinks that on a neutral field, the Ravens will beat them by 7 or so.
And for that reason, I'm taking the Buccaneers. And I'm not expecting their offense to come out and blow up. I think we've been waiting for that, and it hasn't happened. I think we're past that already. But I'm expecting their defense to be the difference in this game. Todd Bowles, while he is the head coach, he's still a great defensive coordinator.
Good defensive mind.
And I think this is the kind of game where he needs to rely on his defensive mind instead of him being a head coach. He needs to ensure that he outcoaches, one, Mr. Harbaugh, and secondly, he outcoaches I can't even remember the OC's name. Greg Roman. He needs to be a defensive-minded head coach this weekend. They're not going to beat the Ravens by outscoring them 34-30 type of game. Yep. It needs to be a low-scoring game. Yeah, I have the Buccaneers winning this game, and I have them winning 24-20. I just can't see it. I can't see. I like it. There's too much. There's too much.
I like it, but they're still going to lose.
And 27-24 Ravens.
And you can't. And then also the Panthers are playing the Falcons. I'm pretty sure the Falcons are going to win that game. To think about going into Week 9 that the Buccaneers, or more importantly, Tom Brady would be.
You're getting too nostalgic. He'll be 3-5 like LeBron in the finals. It has happened before.
It has happened before. But
not everybody ends with the sexy ending like Michael Strahan did.
Because it goes back to my point that they left when they were supposed to.
Long. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it goes back to that point. Sir. However, but this Buccaneers team has a much more talented team than that Ravens team does.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, but this is where I go. Who has the better quarterback right now? That's the Ravens.
That's an argument. That's an argument. That's a fair argument because we could sit there and. Once again, what's the definition of a quarterback?
Brady has been putting up numbers.
Buddy, that's inflation galore.
Whatever. I'm gonna grab a beer while you think about it.
Yeah, Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans.
Well, they beat Atlanta. They beat New Orleans.
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
Yeah, because Grady.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So it's a toss up game. I'm taking the Buccaneers to avoid their third loss in a row. I just still think the Buccaneers are going to be the team that win that division. They have the experience, the maturity, the veteran, the coach, everything. Ravens, they still play in the AFC North, which is not that much better of a division when you really think about it. So
enter Deshaun Watson for a full year. We could reassess that, but to your point, right now, not so much. We're going to keep it in the actually, no, we're not going to keep it in the South.
Let's make it quick.
Why? You got somewhere to be?
No, I don't. It's
the second time that you've talked to me about time. I'm about to mute your ass.
We spent 30 minutes on 2 games.
No, we didn't. We spent 30 minutes on talking about the trade deadline. Where's that microphone? Okay.
Yeah.
He's done for a little while. Must be punished. We're going to the Pacific Northwest, where my New York Football Giants will be heading to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Fred, I'm going to bring you back. If you tell me one more time about where you got to be, where you got to do the mulch or something, you got something better to do? Buddy, we're going to split this up into various segments and videos. Why are you so worried about the damn time?
I'm not.
I haven't hosted a show before.
I just got to hear the laugh one more time.
But what you are doing, I like it. The Giants are in Seattle. The New York Giants are feeling very good about themselves. Idris and I made the trip out to Jacksonville. What a hell of a finish.
What a finish.
We're losing linemen. We got guys getting their eyes poked up. Giants just keep finding ways and refuse to lose and refuse to make excuses about adversity.
Right.
That's why when I hear about Aaron Rodgers not having receivers, I'm like, welcome to Daniel Jones's world.
We're playing with 2 6th-round draft choices, a 7th rounder, and an undrafted free agent.
Yes, sir.
This Giant team is one thing and one thing only: coaching.
Yes, sir.
That's what that team is. It's coaching. It's a team that bought into the system, into the concept. They're executing. They're playing with grit. It's not about the star factor. It is just,
it's
hey
never
guys,
about
this
the
is what
star.
It's coaching.
This is what we're going to do.
Never
It's
about the
straight
star.
coaching.
Not with this situation. And I want to piggyback off of what Zappy said because, he was previously made a good point about Tampa yet again, how Todd Bowles needs to just concentrate on being the DC for this particular matchup with the Lamar game, the Lamar matchup. What I love about what Brian Dable has going on in East Rutherford is that he has an excellent delegation. Kafka doing his thing. The special teams has been one of the best special team situations in recent memory and even deeper than recent memory for the Giants. Special teams has been our Waterloo for a long time. Wink Martindale is doing a phenomenal job of getting the most out of whatever he has to coach. His team is in a great place.
Here's a stat for you. In the last 5 years, the Giants are 4-51.
Woo!
In fourth quarter comebacks. Those 4 from this year.
Yes, sir.
Ain't that something? Daniel
Jones is in a position to break the single season record for fourth quarter comebacks, and we're only halfway through.
Right. He has 5.
Yes, now he has 5 after the Jacksonville situation and the referees tried very
8.
Yes, it is.
For a season.
And Jonesy is more than halfway there, and the Giants have mastered. This is why it's hard not to believe in this team. This team has mastered how to turn on a different jet when it comes to the fourth quarter. Idris and I were watching what was going on.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, never once were we truly worried. Mm-hmm. And that speaks volumes about how far the Giants have come in a very short time. This was supposed to be a year where you're just trying to get a little respectability. You're looking forward to next year, getting the cap space that you need to fill out this roster. You're bringing in Landon Collins off his couch. You're bringing in Jalen Smith off his couch.
Yep.
You drafted well. Your first 3 picks have been contributing.
You know what? Shout out to the Giants fans that showed up at the game.
No doubt.
That stadium was a sea of blue.
Indeed, and it's funny because Brett made a joke. Hey, you're wearing white, and I'm the type that I try more times than not to wear what we're wearing. The reason I think the Giants fans went so hard on wearing the blues, they wanted to make a point.
Yeah.
Bretsky, go ahead, buddy.
What's the verdict on Metcalf?
Out.
He's out.
Pete
He's
Carroll
out
since the
for a
beginning of
while.
time. Yeah, Pete Carroll will always be like, "Oh, I think he could play this week." No, he can't play this week. He can't play next week.
He's out.
He's going to be out at least 3 to 4 weeks, in my opinion.
All right. With that being said, you have a good shot to win this game.
Absolutely, but we cannot get complacent.
No, you can't. You can't. This is one of those. I'm not going to call it a trap game.
It kind of is.
But it's one of those games where Seattle could surprise you in certain packages.
I guarantee you with the dogs. I guarantee it.
Yeah, you guys are, the Giants are 3-point dogs in this game.
Always 3-point dogs.
So, and at Seattle, dude, it's not a tough. It's a Seattle's very tough place to play.
It is.
But we have won as recently as 2020 there. Granted, that's a pandemic season. Last time we really stuck it to them good in that building, you got to go back to 2010 where we beat them 44-6.
Yeah, but that was 2020. Nobody in the stands.
Indeed.
So now
limited crowd.
Now it's different. Granted, they have no Metcalf.
Wink's going to be able to peel Gino's ears back and just keep blitzing and blitzing and blitzing.
Penny is gone, right?
Yeah, Penny's long gone. That's Kenneth Walker's backfield now.
And it actually proved that Kenneth Walker was ready for it because he played really well in his first game.
No, he played really well. He played really well. And man, this could be a crapshoot. This could be one of those 2018, 21, 19 kind of games. Gonna come down to the wire, the last 2.5 minutes. Who has the most timeouts? It could come down to one of those games. And granted, it's in Seattle. I think they have the advantage on that.
It's always an advantage to a level when you have the home field, for sure.
It is, but I mean, dude, we're talking about the 12th man here. You know what I mean? Like this stadium is no joke.
But what you're not talking about.
The fact is that these Seahawks fans know the Giants' record. They know they're on a roll. They are gonna come out firing, bro.
No doubt about it. But the fans don't make the tackles, and the fans don't stop the run, and the fans don't make the plays.
I agree with that. 100% agree with that.
And I will say this: I don't give a damn about the 12th man right now because I guarantee you that they're not going to make the impression that my guys and our fans just made in Jayville.
I am taking Seattle 2019.
Good for you. Zappy, go ahead, and then me and Idris are going to bring the truth here.
I think this is a evenly matched up game. Seattle not having DK Metcalf in the lineup as well as Rashad Penny is going to hurt them. Massive. But what Seattle hurts at is they are one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and they are not the greatest at stopping the run. So this tells me this is going to be a Saquon type of day. And then not only that, they are not exactly the best at stopping quarterbacks that can run the ball. And Daniel Jones is coming off of a 100-yard rushing game in Jacksonville. So,
against a better defense.
Against a better defense, exactly. Yeah. A defense that is actually known for getting to the quarterback, too.
Indeed.
Brian Dable definitely did a good job of game planning against that, saying, hey, look, Daniel, drop back and look for the whole run. Whatever the case was, it worked. And then you look at this Giants team, it's very easy. If you don't put them away early in the fourth quarter and you let them slowly claw their way back into it, they're going to win that game. And this is another one of those games where while Seattle has had a very surprising outcome from a Geno Smith.
And they should be proud of themselves.
They should be. I mean, they're first in their division right now. That's not taking anything away from them. It's the NFC West, one of the toughest divisions, and they're sitting there 4-3 at first place after 7 weeks in the NFL season. But the Giants are 6-1 for a reason. They're not 6-1. A lot of people might say they've gotten lucky. I don't give a shit. This is excuse me for my language. This is the NFL.
No, you're good.
You play the game to win.
Curse all day long.
You play the game to win, and no matter what, we play the game to make it into the playoffs. Because once the playoffs start, it's a whole new year. I believe that this Giants team is riding high because they have great coaching. They have great coaching, and I think the Giants are going to go into Seattle. When you asked me a couple weeks ago, I said Seattle will win that game. Fast forward to today, I believe the Giants are going into Seattle. They are going to win this game and go into the bye week 7-1. I think the Giants pull this game off, and I think they win it on a late field goal because they will be down, but I think they're going to chip away again, and I think they win this one 24-21.
With me, everything you said, our advantage, we can run the ball. They can't stop the run. Geno Smith, surprised.
Yeah, you got to give him some credit.
Surprised. Props to him because he's showing poise. He's not that Geno Smith in New York, both New York teams, or in San Diego. He's a whole different Geno Smith. He is confident.
And you got to get it's a testament to what they're doing over there. I got to give him some credit.
But I think with this game, with no DK, Metcalf to worry about on the corner, I think Wink is coming to get him. Wink's going to get him. He's going to blitz because he's not going to worry. He's not going to be worried what's going down the field because he has Junior Love who can play corner, who can play safety. So you got X on the other side,
and you got the revitalized Landon Collins. Doing double duty.
He could play the Mike linebacker. He can
as well as helping out those guys behind him.
Yeah, so
Rose played well.
Seattle.
Dory's played well.
Dory's playing real well, and the kid that made the stop at the goal line, Morrell.
Yeah. I'm pleased with his performance, and he's playing for an injured Aaron Robinson. He probably has the job for now.
Right, and see with that, the 12th man is going to be something. But even though we had the stadium locked in Jacksonville, that crowd was still a tough crowd.
No, hold on. Let me back up on that one. You had nothing but blue.
Were you
jerseys.
there? Were you there?
Oh, but
I saw it.
On TV is one
thing.
We were
there.
I saw it.
When you're in the crowd,
it's a
whole different.
It's not, dude. It's not the 12th man. Okay.
Let's get this one thing straight. Let's get this straight.
Win the game is the fans. He hasn't made a football point.
Let's get this straight. The 12th man is not the 12th man that we once knew them to be.
And it's not the Legion of Boom that we're playing.
It's not.
We're not dealing with Marshawn Lynch.
It's not the 12th man that we once knew them.
We're not dealing with Prime Russ.
It was easy.
I don't see Richard Sherman out there.
No,
I don't see Cam Chancellor out there. No, it's not.
Bobby Wagner.
There's smoke and mirrors versus the Giants being a little more of a real puncher in not only this week and a good first half, but in these NFC playoffs to come up. Short and very sweet. Kenneth Walker's going to have a good ball game. I do believe that.
Yeah.
But I do believe also that the Giants are going to do something that they haven't been able to do for the most part this season, even though when you look at the stat sheet, the bend but don't break, getting really tough inside the 25, the G-men are going to induce a couple of more interceptions because they have not.
Yeah.
Geno is going to force some poor passes.
Right.
Saquon is going to go for close to 200 all-purpose. Mm-hmm. And I actually believe that Daniel Jones, more so than what he's going to do with his legs, I think Saquon's going to have them on the ropes, and I think Danny is going to have a good time with the arm. I got Daniel Jones going for about 230 or so yards, 2 touchdowns, possibly one of them to Saquon. I got Saquon hitting the end zone 3 times this game.
Look,
or maybe mix in a Matt Breida play.
David was doing something that Joe Judge
hope you're right. I have
Saquon
do. In my homecoming league.
Joe Judge Joe Judge's first season, he said, what we're going to do, we may run the ball 40 times, we may pass 40 times, but whatever we're going to do, we're attacking the opponent's weakness.
Indeed.
That's what Dable's doing. What you're
Dable's doing what Judge said he was going to do.
Right. Dable's going after what you're weak at. Like if you look at the Jacksonville game, we ran it down their throats. Same with Chicago. We ran.
Yeah.
And being Seattle is, and I'm not taking nothing away from Seattle, but they cannot stop the run, and they have problem with mobile quarterbacks. Jones, Breida, Barkley, they're going to go right down there. And you see how my opinion, this might be the game that it's not close. I'm going.
I tend to agree with Idris. Go ahead, Idris.
I'm going 30. I'm going 30-17 Giants.
Damn.
I'm going 34-20 Giants.
Jesus.
I'll say this one last thing about the Giants. If I am Brian Dable, if I am Wink Martindale, I'm coming into this game with one thing in mind. I'm going to focus on stopping the run and making Geno Smith beat us without DK Metcalf.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing.
I love it. Exactly. I love it. And that's what's going to happen. And that's to the point of why I said the G-Men are going to pick some balls out of the sky.
What did they do to Aaron Rodgers?
Indeed.
They said, beat us, throw it.
And they were a healthier team when they played us, more so than what they're going through now.
Right. And Rodgers couldn't do it.
Packers were coming off a win over the Bucs.
Right.
2019 Seattle. Final score.
Okay.
I don't know how Seattle's holding us to 19. I don't see that.
No.
It is what it is. Nice game.
It's not what it's not. We're gonna wrap up this show with Zappy's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
There you go.
Just to give the viewers an understanding, there will be another video coming out to cover the rest of these NFL games. But I want to make sure that we end this here with the Dallas Cowboys if Zappy returns. Actually, no.
Well, Zappy ain't going nowhere.
I'm here.
He's there.
Come on, Zap. Fly and give me 5 minutes. Go for 5 and give me 5. Let's go.
Look, I'm not going to take anything away from the Bears and their inspired football they played on Monday night. Obviously, that team came out saying, hey, look, Bill Belichick has the opportunity to come out and beat us and take over our former head coach, George Halas, and be the second winningest coach in NFL history against us. Or we can go out there and postpone it for one more week in regards to Belichick. And they came out there and played. You know, and you could credit a lot of that to Belichick once again, the way he outcoached himself, and I'm a firm believer on that.
I tend to agree.
But the Bears played some inspired football. Justin Fields actually had himself a pretty good game. I'm not going to take anything away from him. Yeah. Now, when leading up to this Cowboys-Bears game, Dallas might be playing without Ezekiel Elliott, which I don't think is a bad thing. You know, Tony Pollard, I think, will handle the load just fine. But I will say this. Matt Eberflus, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, former coordinator for the Cowboys, knows how to play against this Cowboys team. The last time he played against the Cowboys was when he was the DC for the Colts, and the Colts beat the Cowboys 22-0, I believe it was. Granted, that Colts defense was a lot better than this Bears defense. And also, we got to remember the Bears just traded away Robert Quinn, which he hasn't exactly had that season for them, but it was still one of their starters. I'm looking at Dallas as a team that is figuring themselves out. They know in order to win, they have to play great defense and run the ball. And they have done that week in and week out. They have played great defense, ran the ball. They had their one setback against the Eagles, in which it was a game that majority of us chose the Eagles to win because of the likes that Cooper Rush was on a high, but eventually he was going to come back down, and he did. You know, Dak, he came in last week. He had himself a good game. He was rusty to begin with, and I think there's going to still be signs of rust here and there. But I'm looking at this Cowboys team that they are figuring it out. I think Kellen Moore has finally figured it out. And I'm looking at this Bears team that while they came off an emotional win, I just can't see them doing it again. I think Micah Parsons is going to be around Justin Fields early and often, as well as this entire defensive line for the
Randy
Cowboys.
Gregory.
Yeah, where's he at? What's he doing again? You know, and it's crazy too, because before today, Micah Parsons was sitting with 7 sacks and Dorrance Armstrong was sitting with 6 sacks. But there was one play where it looked like it was Micah that got it. They did just make a stat correction, and now Micah has 8 sacks.
Yeah, Micah
Dorrance
gets
has
high.
5.
But Armstrong, I didn't expect.
I did. If you really broke them down, Dorrance and Landry were mirror images of each other. The only difference is Dorrance is not splitting the snaps with Randy Gregory. Yeah. So, you know, Dorrance was a steal coming out of that draft. When Dallas got him, it was like, oh, wow, they actually got him this late? Okay. But Dorrance was also a guy that needed a few years to come along, and now he's breaking through on a contract year. He is, and he's going to be the second guy, which I think Dallas could very well have 3 guys that get 10 or more sacks. He's going to be one of them. Going into this game, I think Dallas is going to do what they need to do. Tony Pollard is definitely going to be the X factor in this game. If he's getting the bulk of the carries, he's going to have one of those games where if you're a fantasy owner and you have Tony Pollard, you put him in your flex position and let him work. He's going to go to work. Dak, he had one touchdown pass last week. It was the 1 yard line, one of those where is it going to be Zeke or is it going to be Dak? He threw it, penned a shot. I think Dak's going to have himself a couple of touchdown passes this week. However, I think Dallas will struggle some, which is going to lead to them making the trade that they need to make for a wide receiver. Dallas will come out on top 27-17, and we'll go from there.
I'm close to what Zappy has. I got the Bears winning this game going into the fourth. I think they're going to continue their inspired effort, but I think in the fourth quarter, the Dallas defense is going to rise to the occasion, make the necessary plays, and overcome a 10-point deficit. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game 24-20. They're going to be down 20-10 going into the fourth. They're going to wake up. And I think this is going to be a feel-good win for the Cowboys. I think the Bears are starting to prove that Justin Fields, little by little, starting to get it. They play hard. They don't always play efficiently well, but they play hard. I do think that the Bears might have something cooking for a bigger thing next year. Cowboys are the better team. Cowboys going to win the game. That's all I got.
Yeah, I agree with them. Oh, you want to go ahead?
Go ahead.
I agree with Zappy, but I don't think it's going to be that close. Before they got the pick up today, yesterday, maybe, but they make it short and sweet. Dallas 35. Chicago 17.
And just quickly, the only reason why I think it's going to be like Dallas down by 10 possibly is because I still believe that Dak is getting his feet wet. And I do think that affects this to a level. But, you fast forward 5 weeks from now, I don't know what we're going to get from Dak, but we're going to have a better answer about what to expect for the remainder in about another 3 weeks from now.
I think Pollard's going to have a day. I think.
I agree. I think we all think that's going to happen. Go ahead, brother. You're up.
What I saw this past Monday night was kind of I don't like it. Fields made us look like a college football defense.
Yeah, you guys over pursued in a big way.
Yeah, we did. We did. We had guys in position, but they could not tackle. They could not make the final play. I think it might be like that for the first quarter or two. Where Dallas is in position and sometimes they cannot make the play. And Dallas might, Chicago might have like a, 9-6 lead on you or like a 10-6 lead on you going into the half. But I think you get your shit together. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be 27-14 Dallas.
One other thing I wanted to make mention of, I still think the Cowboys' offense in terms of the passing game, and Zappy made the point, they need that other receiver to replace Coop.
Yeah.
I do think that is part of the reason why the Dallas offense is still not all the way clicking. I'm sure Cowboys fans, Zappy alike, are hoping for eventually when this team clicks all the way.
I think they're clicking. I don't want to see the Cowboys offense of the last couple seasons. I want this offense with this defense. I would much rather be a running team.
Well, yeah, you don't want to throw the ball 40 times because it's been proven that while Dak might put up the MVP numbers, you're not getting the wins. And that's ultimately the stat that matters.
You know what? Think about it. If you look at all the great Dallas teams, they've always ran the ball.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And
I
a
don't
lineage
want
of
the
great running backs. Tony Dorsett, Emmitt Smith.
Even with DeMarco Murray. When they gave him the ball.
Marco Murray was awesome.
They won.
Marco Murray was awesome. Marion Barber.
They won when they ran the ball.
Yeah.
20-plus carries.
And now you got Zeke Elliott and the Pollard combination. The power is in the NFC East.
And the other stat with Dallas, whenever Prescott has thrown for under 25 passes, I believe they've only lost one game. I think it's 18-1 or something like that.
I believe you're in that neighborhood. I don't know the exact number, but it's.
I don't know the exact. Yeah, and it's once again another game this past week under 25 passes, and they did just fine. If I don't want them to go after a receiver, and we still didn't even have James Washington back yet. We don't know what he brings to the table either. But I just don't want them to look for this high-scoring 35-point-a-game offense. We have the defense and running game to just allow the game to happen. and they'll be just fine. Because quite frankly, when you look at Dallas' schedule, they have the third easiest schedule in the NFL remaining, where Dallas can easily lose possibly one more game this year, and that's when they go to Tennessee. Other than that, Dallas can very well finish 14-3 and still not win this division.
We're coming up on the 22nd mark, guys, just to let you know. We're going to cover the rest of this slate in another video because we just really elaborated on a lot of stuff tonight. Thank you so much for watching. As always, for Zappy, for Idris, and for my guy, Brett, I'm Richie, and we are out till next time.